So for this exercise, I'm going to be trying to engage my vastus medialis oblique. So I'm going to do this in a couple of different ways. I'm going to start out with a really simple lunge. Now, if I want to get more of the engagement on my vastus medialis oblique, I have to think about pulling through my inner line. So typically, when I go into a lunge position just like this, and I start to take my lunge, what I do is I tend to either gravitate towards the outside line of my leg, or I just let my knee collapse in. What I want to think about doing is I want to think about spiraling my shin inwards and reaching my femur backwards. So my leg bone, my femur, spirals outwards. My shin bone spirals inwards. As I spiral my shin bone inwards, I'm going to pick up that arch on that foot. Then from there, I'm going to spiral this outwards, and I'm going to really start to feel that vastus medialis oblique engage. Once I go into my lunge, I'm going to really try to push not onto that foot, but more onto that heel. Pushing onto that heel is going to lift that VMO up, and I should feel that engagement in my glute. If I push into my foot, I start to disengage that a little bit more. If I push into my heel, I'm going to get a better firing pattern through there. And I really want to think about trying to squeeze my quad as I go into this lunge. If I just do the lunge by itself, I'm not going to get too much engagement through there. If I really squeeze through, and I think about that spiral in, spiral out, then I start to get that engagement to happen. We want to think about taking this lunge as almost a hinge lunge instead of a straight down lunge, because that's going to overload that knee joint a little bit. So from the side, instead of going this way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about getting into that locked position, and then I'm just going to hinge through, pushing into that heel, reaching back up. Hinge through, pushing into that heel, reaching back up. Now, if you want a little bit more challenge with this, what you can do is you can create a little bit of resistance towards that inside line. So if I take this, any type of TheraBand will work, and I put this around my thigh. Now I start to have something that wants to pull me out this way. So I have to pull in against this. Again, that pulling in against this is going to get me that engagement of that vastus medialis. So I find myself in this hinge position. It wants to pull me out this way. I have to pull against it to that inner line. From here, I'm going to push down, go into that hinge, try and keep that stability through, and push back up. Going into that hinge, engaging through, and pushing back up. You can play around with the angle of this a little bit, but we want to think about trying to stay more on the inside line. I can pull a little bit more at that angle here, or a little bit more at that angle here, depending on how much resistance I want. Now, once we've done this just by itself, what we can do is we can add a little bit of imbalance. So if you have 2 or 3 pillows, you'll stack those, just like couch pillows. You'll stack those up, and then from there, what you're gonna do is you're gonna place your one foot onto the couch pillows. You want that resistance band in the line of pull the opposite way. So it wants to pull your leg out this way. So you'll attach the resistance band to something over here. You'll have 2 or 3 pillows stacked up, and then you're gonna take the couch or whatever you have. It's a small surface to put this leg on, and you're gonna place the back leg onto that piece of furniture, that couch, that chair. All that's gonna do is it's gonna cause you to have to force more balance into this knee. Instead of knocking in this way, you're gonna have to engage that vastus medialis. So that's gonna be our exercise to engage the VMO.